Inside the Grand Palace of Burkina Faso, where power and loyalty are supposed to stand unshaken, a chilling betrayal unfolded. A man bound not by politics but by blood, President Ibrahim Traoré's own cousin, plotted to take his life. What happened next would shake the nation and redefine trust itself. The palace at Ouagadougou was never just a seat of power. It was a symbol, a fortress where decisions shaping the fate of millions were made. Yet within its golden corridors and guarded gates, even the walls could not shield Ibrahim Traoré from the shadows creeping closer. And those shadows wore a familiar face. It was late in the evening, the air heavy with the desert heat. Guards stood at their posts, alert but unsuspecting, while inside the president reviewed reports of the ongoing struggle against armed groups that had plagued Burkina Faso for years. He carried the burden of a nation, a soldier turned leader, a man who dared to challenge the world's most powerful voices in defense of African sovereignty. But even the fiercest lions are hunted not always by strangers, but by those who know their every step. This cousin, let's call him Karim, was no ordinary relative. He had grown up with Ibrahim, shared meals, shared childhood games, shared memories of dust-filled streets where boys dreamed of becoming men. Blood had once bound them, but envy is a disease that eats deeper than any wound. Karim believed that Ibrahim had taken a destiny that could have been his. The palace, the power, the voice that commanded millions. It was everything he thought should have belonged to him. And envy, when left unchecked, becomes deadly. For weeks, Karim had been plotting. With access to the palace's family, suspicion never followed him. He observed Ibrahim's movements, studied the times when guards rotated, and waited for the perfect moment. No one would have imagined betrayal would come from within the president's own bloodline. That night, the palace halls echoed softly with footsteps. Ibrahim was walking toward his private chambers, carrying papers under his arm. He was tired, his face hardened, but his eyes heavy from endless work. He didn't know that just beyond the corner, Karim was waiting, a weapon concealed beneath his jacket, his heart pounding with both fear and ambition. The air grew tense, but fate, as it often does, intervened. A palace guard, noticing Karim's nervous demeanor, stepped forward. "Is everything all right?" he asked. Karim forced a smile, but the sweat on his forehead betrayed him. His hand twitched near his jacket, a moment too sharp for a soldier trained to notice danger. Within seconds, the guard raised his weapon. Another stepped in. "Show your hands," they barked. Karim froze. His eyes darted between the guards and the approaching figure of his cousin, the president himself. Ibrahim stopped, confusion flooding his face as he recognized the man before him. The cousin who had once shared his table now stood accused of treachery within the heart of the palace. The silence was suffocating. "Karim?" Ibrahim's voice was low, steady, but heavy with disbelief. "Why?" Karim's lips trembled, rage mixing with tears. "It should have been me. You think you're chosen, but I could have been the leader. I could have had the crown." His words, bitter and broken, revealed the poison that had been festering inside him for years. Ibrahim, a soldier hardened by war, stood still. Not as a president, but as a man betrayed by his own blood. He could have ordered the guards to shoot. He could have turned away in fury, but instead he took a step forward. "You were my brother," he said, his voice firm, "and you would have killed me, not for the people, but for your pride. That is why you will never lead." The guards restrained Karim, disarming him before the betrayal could claim blood. His plan had failed. The palace remained secure, but the wound cut deeper than bullets. For Ibrahim, it was not just an attempt on his life, it was a message. Power isolates. Even family can turn against you. In the days that followed, whispers spread across Ouagadougou. Citizens were shaken. How could the president's own cousin plot his death? Some felt anger, others sorrow, but all were reminded of the heavy weight Ibrahim carried. He was not just battling terrorists at the nation's borders or foreign powers seeking influence. He was battling betrayal from within his own home. That night, Ibrahim addressed his closest advisors. His words carried not just authority, but pain. "Trust," and he said, "is the rarest currency for a leader. We can fight the enemy outside, but what do we do when the enemy comes from within? This is not just my battle, it is every leader's curse." His advisors listened in silence. They saw not only a president, but a man who had stared death in the face, delivered not by an assassin in the shadows, but by kin who once laughed with him under the African sun. And yet Ibrahim did not waver. He ordered justice, but not vengeance. Karim was imprisoned, not executed. Let the people see, he declared, that power does not blind us with cruelty. Even betrayal cannot make us lose our humanity. The choice stunned many. Some expected him to strike with iron, to crush betrayal with blood. But Ibrahim knew that the world was watching, and more importantly, that his people needed to see strength tempered with mercy. Days turned to weeks, and the palace resumed its rhythm. But for Ibrahim, the memory lingered like a scar. He had faced bullets on battlefields, threats from foreign leaders, and hunger in the streets. Yet nothing had shaken him like seeing his own cousin, eyes burning with envy, ready to end his life. It was then Ibrahim realized leadership was not only about commanding armies or giving speeches. Leadership was about carrying the heaviest burden of all, trust. Trusting those around you, knowing that at any moment it could be broken. And yet, he carried on. In the quiet of the night, Ibrahim often sat by the palace window, staring out at the city lights. Somewhere out there, his people struggled, fought, and dreamed. Somewhere out there, a young boy played in the dust, just like he once did with Karim. And he wondered, would that boy grow to be a leader, or would envy claim him too? The attempted assassination by his cousin was not just a personal wound. It was a lesson, a reminder that power attracts both loyalty and betrayal. A warning that even within family, ambition can twist love into hatred, and a testament to the resilience of a man who refused to be broken. For the people of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traoré became more than a soldier or a president. He became a symbol of survival, not just against bullets and bombs, but against the deepest betrayals of the human heart. And so, the palace stood tall, its walls scarred but unbroken. Within them lived a man who had faced the ultimate betrayal and still chose to lead. A man who understood that trust, though fragile, was the only weapon strong enough to hold a nation together.